How did you do that? How did you do that? Still dark outside. Good morning.
2 hours later.
I'm going over my training result that include from the time I was working out to the time I got to in front of my door. So for 7/13/2017, I started at 5:13 a.m. My training time 2 hours 22 minutes 10. Average 111. My highest was 151. My calories was 462 calories. That include everything, including coming up the stairs. Heart rate zone 1 hour 22 minutes and 7 seconds. And I was in my heart rate zone 58% of the time. And that's for today, July 13, 2017. So I will be going over my workout. This is the workout for today. I put those red bars on the side at intervals so you guys could see how I sort of group them. Each of those red bars are groups of routines or circuits that I've done, with the exception of the last one. The last group is things that I do and at the end. So I will explain everything. So let's go. Let me discuss the first group. Usual, before I start, I warm up. I put a 5 pound on the cable, and I did various movements to warm up my shoulders. And once I was done, I set up my area. I grabbed the weights that I was going to use, and I did single arm shrug where my back is against a wall. There's a post, 4 corner posts, and 2 of the corners, actually 3 of the corners there's nothing around it. So I lean against it. One side of my body, of my back, is against it. The other side is hanging free. There's nothing behind it. So the arm that's holding the dumbbell, the 42.5 pound, I'm doing the single arm shrug with it. And I did 3 sets of that. Once I was done with one arm, I switched. I did the other side, and there was no rest in between, just enough to switch arm and position my back to the other corner. So the other shoulder is that was doing the shrugs originally is now against the post or the wall. So once I was done with the single arm shrug, I did both arms, same weight, regular shrugs. I did 3 sets of that, 3 sets of 12. When I said 3 sets of 12, it's one set doing all of these, and then the next set I do the same thing again. The last set I do all of them all over again, because this is a circuit. It's not like I stand and did 3 sets of 12 all at once. It's each one down the line. Single arm shrugs, 2 arm shrugs, single arm wheel delt, bent over fly, single arm standing shoulder press, upright row. All of these were done one after the other in a circuit. And then once I finished the first set, I went and back and do the same thing all over again. And then for the single arm wheel delt fly, I had the bench at a 45-degree angle, and my chest is against it. I use a 20 pound to do the fly, and I did 12 repetitions on that. And the same bench, once I was done with I switch arm, by the way. Once I do each arm at a time. Once I finish with both arms, I sat down on the bench, bend down, and do bent over fly. And I use a 7.5, and it was, I believe it was 20. I usually do 20 repetitions with these. 20 repetitions. And once I was done with the bent over fly, I did single arm standing shoulder press. So it's one arm at a time that's doing the presses, well, for 20 pounds. And I switch arm, and then once I finish with both arms, I did upright row with a 30-pound barbell. Now this one is a bit tricky to explain. Not really tricky. So pretty much the one set of the upright row consists of wide grip, 12 repetitions, and then right after, without any rest, just move my hand on the bar. I did close grip, another 12 repetitions, which equals to 24. So that was one set. So I was done with this group of exercises. The first group, I fully recovered, put the weights back, and then I set up for the next group of exercises. I maintain the bench at a 45-degree angle. I use a 50-pound barbell to do bent over row, and I did around the world. I have a video explaining how I do this exercise. Again, my body, my chest is leaning against the bench at the 45-degree angle, and I do around the world with the 7.5 pound. And then once I was done with that, got up, took the 10-pound dumbbell, do one arm at a time, front raises, lateral raises, and I switch back and forth. When I was doing the front raises, there was absolutely no rest, with the exception of switching arms, because I do one arm at a time. At one point, someone took the 10 pounds. I used two 5-pound dumbbell, put them together, and do the front and lateral raises. Once I was done with that, I did seated shoulder press. Now, before I was doing standing shoulder press with the 20 pound on the first group. Now I'm doing seated shoulder press, and now I'm using a 30 pound. And I took rest between 20 to 40 second rest. And then I went to the cable and I did some face pull with a face pull 17.5 pound. And then I did straight arm pull down. I kept the same weight on the cable. And then I did upright row standing with a 40-pound barbell. Now this time I'm doing just 12 repetitions. I put my hand grip position on the barbell somewhat at mid-level, not from the same way I was doing the previous circuit. This time it's area in the bar is like mid-level, where I did not put it before. I did regular upright row with 12 reps. That's it. And then took about I believe I took about 20 to 40 second rest to start all over again. And that was that with group 2. I was done with this group of exercises. I went to the 2-handle cable lat pull down. I have a video where I show I forgot what I call the video, where I used the 2-handle, where I did all of these that I'm gonna mention in a circuit. So I did one arm shoulder squeeze, that was 60 pound, and I keep my arm straight and I'm just pulling the cable down with my shoulders. I did 12 repetitions and I switched to the next arm, and then I did the same thing. And now I did one arm shoulder squeeze. This time I position my shoulder at a 45 degrees. Slightly, I tilt my upper body slightly to the back, and then I'm pulling the cable with the opposite handle, and I'm pulling with my shoulder. And I did 12 repetitions on that. And I had to reduce the weight, 27.5 pounds, and I switched to the next arm and I did another 12 repetitions. And then soon after, I did one arm regular lat pull down, just one arm pulling down, and I used a 35 pound. And then I used both handles to do another regular lat pull down. And then now this one, the crossover, is where my right hand holds the left handle, my left hand holds the opposite handle, and I keep my shoulders straight, my head slightly bent down, and then I'm pushing the cable down with my shoulder. That's what the crossover means. I don't know if there's another name for it, but that's what I call it. And this requires a very low weight, and it's 12.5, and I did 12 repetitions. And every time I finish do this, I always take exactly 40 seconds because it is brutal. And soon after, I did close grip, and I use a 35 pound. Sometimes I go heavy, but I felt like I was doing so much already. My shoulders were starting to feel the impact of all the exercises that I've done before. So I use a 35 pound close grip, and I did 12 repetitions. And once I was finished with all of this, I took about 2 minutes to fully recover and then start all over again. So that was the third circuit, the third group of exercises. The fourth group of exercise, I only did it because I was waiting for the wide grip lat pull down, and it was not available. So I decided to do this because I didn't want to just stand there and wait for it, because pretty much the majority of my exercises were done. So I wanted to do the wide grip. So since the 2-handle seated cable row was available, I decided to do this circuit. So it's the seated cable row. I did similar to the third group, the third circuit that I just did, where I do the shoulder squeeze, where this time my hand is at a horizontal position where I'm doing the shoulder squeeze. I do one arm at a time. I put a 60-pound on it, the same amount of weight that I do the vertical shoulder squeeze. I keep my arm straight in front of me, and I'm just pulling with my shoulder. What's the term there? This protract, and I can't think right now. I'm trying to get this done. So I did that 12 repetitions, both one arm at a time, and then I did regular row with one arm at a time, and I used a 27.5 pounds, and all of them were 3 sets of 12. It was 12 repetitions. And then once I finished the one arm row, I keep the same weight and I do both arms, and soon after I do close grip. There's a handle I like to use when I'm doing the two handles, similar to this and the other one that I just did, because the handles are very small. I could put them cross over, and I intertwine my fingers together to be able to pull it to make the close grip, so I don't have to waste time to switch handles. So I always search for that specific handle. It has a red, black and red. That's how I usually, that's the handle I usually use when I'm doing those two-handle lat pull down and the two-handle cable row. So that was one circuit, 3 sets, and each one was, I took about maybe 2 minutes after I didn't really take that much time to recover for this one. It didn't seem that exhausted that much for some reason. But, I took, once I finished all of them, I fully recover and then do the second and final set. Once I was done with the cable row, right after I was done, the trainer that was using it was done. So I grabbed it right away, and it was very easy. I knew exactly what I was gonna do. It's just front and back lat pull down, 12 set in the front, 12 set in the back, and I just go back and forth until I finish do all 7 sets. So I took 0 rest between each front and back. Then once I finished do both of them, I took about 40-second rest. So between 20 and 40 seconds. When I say 0 here in terms of rest time, it's just enough time for me to position myself a different way, or facing the lat pull down a different way, to just do the opposite pull down. So that was it. I did 7 sets of 12 of that. Once I was done with the lat pull down, the wide grip, I just wanted to do some biceps and triceps, and I went to the cable and I did some rope tricep press down. I didn't even count. I just do as much as I can until I can't do no more. And I did bicep curl with a straight bar. I didn't even count. I just do as much as I can. And I was like, what, let's do a finish. And I was like, let me do down the rack. And I started with a 30, and some were missing. I think what was missing, I think it was a 25 pound that was missing. But besides that, I went all the way down to 17.5. Again, I don't count how many sets or reps that I was doing, and I just do as much as I could, and then I was done and I was gone. So that is my workout for today for back, and this is why I had to leave early this morning, because I knew I was gonna do a lot of stuff. So that's pretty much it. I was thinking of doing legs again, but the weekend is coming. There's things that I'm probably gonna be doing. I may not be able to go to the gym, so pretty much this week 5 was just an extra week, because I felt I just wanted to add this to it, because week 4 was not fully done. There were a lot of things that was going on, so I decided to add week 5. So that's pretty much it for the summer plan, and I'll probably will do another video explaining the thought process behind this. And I'm really sorry I did not record any of the exercises, because I have to hurry back home before my husband goes to work so I could be in the house with the kids. So if I was recording, it would take me much longer to actually do the exercises. So, you know, I hope I'm gonna put the entire workout here. You guys could pause your video, your TV or computer. You could see what I did. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you like it. Thanks.